All right, welcome to Mindfulness 101, Part 2. Heather Ramsey, founder of ReWired WorldWide and faculty member at Wevo Global. Always thrilled to work with you, always thrilled to take your game up a notch. My personal mission is to rewire 1 million humans for higher success and happiness. One step at a time, one human at a time, one insight at a time, one thank God I watched this, thank God for spending time with Heather, thank God in my life. So whether that's in training you and working with you privately in business or sales or happiness or success, and this particular tool, this particular gem of mindfulness, the most important skill I've ever learned. And that's a big statement. I'm thrilled to bring this whole entire series to you now, and each step one at a time. So hopefully you've watched part 1, which the main theme was, say it, 2 S's. There was an and in between, 3 words, S and S, not S and M. Stillness. Do you remember the second one? And, stillness and, again, mastering the basics, stillness and silence. And we spent some time in stillness and in silence together. And the invitation was for you to spend some time. And if you haven't yet, get back up on the horse and spend some time. Commit this week to every day, have it for the whole week, having some time in stillness and silence. You've got hundreds of hours to yap and hundreds of hours to bebop around. It's overrated. Oh my God, thank God. It's like sitting down with a good cup of tea, and yet you don't even need the tea. Just sitting and being is the tea. Drink from the cup of life, of actually showing up to find out what it's actually like to be human. That's one of the biggest gifts, and that's really the focus of this mini training. Is I want to look at why meditate. Later we're going to look at how and all the techniques, etc. But I really want to ground you or anchor you in the why, and to maybe give you a bit of background, which is, I've been at this for a while. When I was 7, I was in a kids' spiritual study group learning how to interpret my dreams. And yes, we'd spend some time in stillness and silence, meditating or mindfulness. The handle is secondary. The practice of being conscious and being present to your life is huge. So yes, in my single digits, 7 and on, then in my later teens, I was literally leading an entire spiritual study group of youth in a whole region around the Great Lakes region, hundreds and hundreds of youth, and we do incredible weekend getaways, and I would lead them. And so I've been in that facet of my life. And yes, my parents were involved. We were in a congregation where we would, atypical, more spiritual than religious, where all 500 of us would meditate together. And no, it wasn't a cult. It was simply humans actually, oh my God, the person beside me is silent and still, and they're not saying anything. And oh my God, the other human being is actually still. To be in a room, let alone with yourself, of humans who are actually just there. Just present, not having to posture, pose, show up, perform, do anything. Oh, the relief. Woo! And even in a later chapter, I have been in many 2, 4, 5, 8, 10-day silent retreats with teachers in Asia, in India, in Thailand, a whole year around in Asia and around the world. And for 21 years with my key mentor and teacher, Shinzen Young. And if you're wanting more on him, shinzen.org, like it sounds, SHINZEN. So yes, all of which I share this, just the highlights with you to say I've been around the block in this world called mindfulness practice. And that's how I can say it's the most important skill I've ever learned, and continue to learn and stay teachable too, in mastering the basics of it and it bringing mastery to my life. So in these few minutes that we have together, I want to really just anchor the possibility, the why, because if you don't have a strong why in your life, you're not going to achieve success. In your business, you're not going to achieve your goals. In your going for happiness, you're going to still be grumpy. So if you don't have a strong why, little will occur. And so I want to propose to you very simply, some, not all, of the whys, the benefits that hundreds of thousands of millions of people over generations and centuries in all cultures, I might say, and in all religions, which I might cover at some other time. If you ever have this fear, one of my clients said, I'm very Christian. Basically she said, will this hurt? And she's become a richer practitioner in her chosen stream of religion. If you have no religion, it's your chosen stream of humanity. It's simply, you could look at it scientifically. A scientific experiment with yourself. What is it like to be conscious and still and silent and aware? And so what I want to do as we look at that practice is really look at why would I even want to do it in the first place. And there's 4 or 5 key benefits, like motivators, like, oh my God, why didn't somebody teach us in kindergarten and in grade 1 and all the way through all the years of my education this principle or this practice? So one is, and you may stop the buck right here, it may be worth it, the price of admission right here. I would say one of the first key benefits is the reducing of suffering in any form, whether that be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and it happens for different people, whether it's physically in your body, whether it's anxiety in your mind, whether it's anger or fear or tightness in your emotions, whether it's a spiritual questioning, any of that, the reducing of various and almost, I would say, any form of human suffering. So that's potential for you, reason number 1. Reason number 2, or why number 2, is the increase of satisfaction or fulfillment in absolutely every moment of your life. You know, one way that Shinzen, my biggest mentor and teacher, though I've had many in my path, puts it is, I can't promise that you'll live to 150, but if you only live till 50, I can promise that every moment will be at least 3 times as big, i.e. 50 times 3 is 150. So what does that mean, like right now in the here and now, not just like a fancy phrase or some good math? It's like, okay, I'm aware of this mic in front of me and I'm aware of the video, yet I'm more aware of the sensation of you being on the other side of this and watching this right now. I'm aware of my hands clasped and the light catching my ring. Those are examples of living 3 times as big. So I'm not just in the yada yada of, am I clear? What will they think? Is this a stupid video? Is it worth it? Which is not very constructive and not very fun. But I may have some inner dialogue. It's a heck of a lot healthier than that, as I've rewired over the years. Yet I'm also aware of so many more aspects, the light coming in, etc. And so hence my life is 3 or 5 or 10 times as big. I'm not going to get to the end, and I wish this for you, that the worst thing that could happen, I would say, is getting to the end of your life and saying, I missed it. Like, where was I? I just missed the show. I was sitting and the movie screen was running, but I really wasn't there. This is the antidote to that. And so, and the second one, first is reducing of suffering of all forms, mental, physical, emotional, etc. The second is the increase or the elevation of satisfaction and fulfillment on all forms, physical, mental, emotional, in the realm of pleasure. Yes, you can reduce pain and you can increase pleasure on all facets, whether that's biting into a strawberry or I could go on. So those are 2 key whys you would want to consider spending even 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however much you do in a day, and dedicate to some stillness and silence. Dedicate to some mindfulness practice, and I'll get into more specifics on what that looks like. I would say a third key core why that I've benefited beyond my wildest dreams is a deeper knowing, a deeper wisdom, a deeper true knowledge, not just conceptually, knowledge of self. What if you could understand yourself as opposed to, I don't get this, why isn't this working, why isn't my life working? You could actually have answers to those questions, answers to you, to understanding your success path, your happiness path, and your understanding of the nature of being human itself. People are like, you're amazing, you understand me. It's like we've never met, but I feel like you know the deepest part of me. because I've mastered, I'm continuing to master the nature of nature, the nature of being human. I've literally watched the nature of being human for thousands and thousands of hours. And you'd think I'd learn a couple of things, and I have. And that wisdom you can apply to anything. That knowledge and that wisdom you can apply to your job, your livelihood, your life, your relationships, the unanswered questions, the frustrations, they will become clearer. The frustrations will start to dissolve and fade, and the wisdom function, as Shinzen would call it, starts to develop, and it's worth it. I'll tell you, even though it's not my primary intention when I sit for a mindfulness practice or in meditation, my primary intention isn't to get the best insights on my next business strategy, but I'll tell you, often it's where my best business strategies, insights come from. It's where, what am I going to say to that dude who challenged me yesterday comes from. In my stillness and my silence, I get the exact phraseology. It's like an infinite answer machine that you can turn on. And I want you to turn on that knowledge machine, that infinite answer machine for you. Without effort, without push or pull, without trying, there's an ability to turn on a tap of knowledge. So reduce suffering, increase satisfaction, i.e. don't miss your life, and increase your wisdom function or your answer bucket. Turn the answer tap on. And I think a fourth, but not the only, a fourth, perhaps there'll be a couple of bonus ones that I'll land on, but at least a fourth why would I want to practice stillness and silence? Why would I want to build a mindfulness practice? Is from an objective behavior standpoint. Sure as shooting, I'm going to tell you, after one sit, after one day, after 1 week, after 1 month, after integrating this into your life, you're going to start to look around, or people in your life are going to start to look around and say, you're not so annoying. You're not getting so upset. You seem calmer than usual. You're not pissing me off so much. Your objective behavior will also start to change. You'll start to rewire effortlessly at the deepest level. So literally it's like, and do this with me, and just pop, like you're popping out the operating system of your mind. You could literally, like, every day, every sit you do, take out that CD-ROM or that CD or DVD hard drive, whatever the analogy is, and throw it out and upload a higher, better operating system. Every time you sit, every time you invest in you in stillness and silence, every time you invest in humanity in stillness and silence. So, to recap so far, decreasing your suffering of any form. Thank you. Oh man, that's worth it, the price of admission right there. Second, why I would meditate. Increasing your level of satisfaction in your life on all fronts and all aspects. Getting to the end and saying, I got it. I was there. I showed up for my life. Third is that wisdom function, that turning on the answer faucet that you're going to get while you're sitting. And fourth is the objective behavior in the world, how you're interacting with the world. Those are 4 of the key ones. And I think maybe just a PS bonus, and I'll get into this as we get into the how of, and the what and the how of mindfulness practice. I'll give you a taste of that, which is mindfulness is really about building 2 main muscles. It's about building mindfulness or awareness of life and allowingness of life. And so as you build awareness, you're going to get more focused. And as you build allowingness, you're going to have more deep inner peace. So in the 2 muscles that we're going to start building together, those are a whole vast acres of diamonds of more wise and more wealth to do this. So I hope that I've done some justice for you, given you at least one motivation that you didn't have before, one insight as to why you would want to spend any time in stillness and in silence every day. So the invitation today is, as it was in part 1, is to invest some time, whatever time you choose is perfect, anything more than 0, today and every day until the next training, in stillness and in silence. And oh, by the way, as the added bonus for this part 2 is, in that stillness and silence, you may want to contemplate or feel or experience or notice any of the benefits that I just said in this video, in this training. So recapping, in fact, can you do it? Can you recap? I'd love to hear you. Test yourself. Benefit number 1 is decreasing suffering. Number 2, increasing satisfaction. Number 3 is a deep knowing, a deep wisdom function that builds. And number 4 is changing your overt behavior, along with the bonuses of being more aware and more allowing. So take those whys, take those benefits, and infuse those into your daily stillness and silence for however long you choose to, until our next training and until our next time together. You're a champion. Your life has already gotten better. May it continue to with your practice of stillness and silence. You're beginning your first baby steps into a mindfulness practice. I'm excited to be your guide. Heather Ramsey, founder of ReWired WorldWide, faculty member at WeVo Global. Excited for you. Go forth and be still and be silent and feel the benefits of why this could enhance your life in every way. Over and out. Until next time.